What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So a lot of y'all might not remember this machine. Let's check it out. So this is my 2007 400ex. So this is pretty much like my dream machine right here. I've always loved 400ex's. My favorite model was the rounded headlights. I believe they call those like the bug eye 400ex's. But I've had this thing probably over a year, I would think, and it's been sitting out in the weather, kind of just getting neglected. So I did some wheeling and dealing. I think I traded some side-by-side tires and rims for this machine from a buddy that I know. And the only issue that he had with it when he sold it to me was on the motor. And there is a seal at the bottom right there on the top of the jug, or the bottom of the jug, that was leaking oil. So it still runs. It didn't run really good. Basically what we're going to be doing tonight is I'm going to start the tear down process of this thing, get all the plastics off, and kind of look into what all I need to get besides what I already have. So I already have a top end kit from Wiseco, and pretty much came with a new jug, new piston, pretty much just new everything. So basically I'm just going to go ahead and rebuild the top end. It ran, no smoke was coming out of it, but I just wanted to go ahead and rebuild it so I'll know what I have. But if y'all want to follow along, this will be episode 1 of this little series. Of course it's not going to be all one episode because I still got a lot of things I want to order for this thing. I want to do basically all new plastics. They're in good shape, but they're just very faded. So if you've seen other videos on my channel, I've done it on a Rancher 420 on my YouTube channel, and what I did was try to restore the plastics with a heat gun and different methods, but it didn't work on this one. It was just too faded out. Now I may try it again, but I would really rather have new plastics. So like a bunch of aftermarket companies make plastics for them, but I would love to find some original ones. And maybe, just maybe, I don't know yet, but I kind of want to go with the bug eye body style. So you can do that body style. I think the only thing that's different is like right up in this region here, you have to build a custom little bracket so everything won't be flopping around, but I may end up doing that. But pretty much what I want to do with this thing is just build a beefy 400ex that I can just hop on and just rip around. I'm not trying to race, or I'm not trying to get into drag racing or any kind of racing of any sort like that. I just want to have fun on it, and that was basically where the start of my passion for ATVs and side-by-sides and all that stuff started. Before there was side-by-sides and anything, I always remember sport bikes, or should I say sport ATVs. I don't want people hating on me. But when I was a little kid, I remember, I didn't have a four-wheeler, but I did have friends that had four-wheelers, and every time they would come and take me for a ride, or if they let me ride theirs, it was always like, man, I want one of these for myself. And that like really fueled my passion to want to do more when I got older. And now I'm older, so I wanted one and I got one, and we're going to rebuild it, and it's going to be sick. So basically what I said earlier, I'm going to go ahead and take off all the plastics and stuff, and I'm sure I'll probably need to rebuild the carburetor and a few other things. But the main thing we're going to focus on tonight is kind of tearing it down and kind of getting a good idea of what all parts I need to order. And it's not going to be a fast process. I'm not going to just dump a bunch of money into this thing real fast. I'm going to research, because I've kind of been out of the sport ATV game for a while, so I got to do a lot of research and find parts that are worthy. So if any brands are out there and y'all are seeing this video, man, sponsor me. Sponsor some parts. I need it. This stuff is not cheap. But yeah, especially like when you have multiple machines and you're wanting to fix them all up, it's hard, even if you do make decent money. But we'll take tonight to kind of get into it and see what all stuff we need, kind of make some plans on what more things I need to buy for it. I know it's I mean, it's pretty straight, you know, the transmission. Of course, I've already checked this out, but it shifts through all the gears perfectly. You know, I've rolled it. I drove it just around the yard, you know, until the oil level got to a level where I was like, I better stop. But I mean, overall, it's not bad for what I paid for it. I think I have like maybe $600 in it. And you know, the brakes, they're gonna need some help. Throttle feels good. Clutches, they feel really tight, so that's a good sign. But we're gonna break into all this stuff eventually. But yeah, guys, subscribe to the channel and comment and tell me some ideas you think I should do. Like I said, I don't want to get into any kind of racing in it, and I just want to build a sweet 400ex that's mine and ride it. You know, like my favorite thing to do. So we have this river close by where I live, and in the summertime we go down there and ride. And it's got these big sandbars, and my favorite thing I always used to love to do was to go down there on any machine really, and just kind of make a flat course with some cool turns, and well, you just have fun out there ripping and racing with your friends. It's a blast. You should try it. But enough with all the small talk. Let's get to tearing this thing down. I'm gonna throw y'all guys in a time lapse, so we'll get this thing ripped apart real quick, and then we'll pop back up and we'll talk about some more stuff that we need for it. Alright guys, so we got pretty much all the plastics off, and it was already kind of aggravating. It took longer than it should have because there was a lot of bolts that were apparently missing and then replaced with other size bolts that wasn't all the same sizes, so I had to keep swapping back and forth. That's all the tools I had to end up using. I think like one was like an 8mm, one was 10, 11. And I had to use the old pliers to get a bolt out that was really hard to get out. But we got that out. And everything looks good so far. So I see a lot of cleaning in this thing's future. One thing, I was gonna start on this a few days ago, but I came out here and I sprayed it off because it had a bunch of there's still some right there. There was a bunch of bird nests up in there, and I think there was one down up in there somewhere too, and I was cleaning those out, and I went to spraying the water hose, and then all of a sudden, on top of the airbox, I see a bunch of red wasps just standing there, kind of chilling, staring at me. So, you know, of course, I got out of there real quick, and they went on their little way, but I was kind of curious where they was coming from, so I thought it was the airbox, because I figured, you know, there's a perfect hole for some wasps to climb down in and get in this nice little airbox and build a home, you know, and do all the things that wasps do. But I never did think to look down in the exhaust, so I pulled that off, took off running, and of course there were no wasps in there, so I was like, where the world are they coming from? So I looked this thing over and over. Yeah, this was like the last place I looked. So maybe I'll be able to see up in there. You can kind of see it. It's kind of hard to get the light positioned right, but there was a very wealthy family of wasps in there. But, so let's check out this exhaust on this thing. So this is a Pro Circuit T4. So I know the name Pro Circuit, but it's been a long time since I've had a sports bike or sports ATV, my bad. But I don't really know too much about them. Somebody did tell me that you can't buy these anymore, but I'm not really sure. But I do plan on putting the magic polish on this thing and chroming it out. Also, I want to polish up a lot of things on it. I want it to be pretty cool. I know back in high school I had a 400ex, or my bad, no, a 450R, and rebuilt it. That was pretty much my first machine to rebuild with the help of my buddy Tyler. But yeah, we polished and polished and polished and polished, and I think I got to hear it crank up one time, and then something happened and I had to sell it because I needed some money, and it just wasn't fun. But yeah, I want to polish a few things out on this thing. I may keep that exhaust, or I may not. I would rather have a more quiet exhaust, to be honest. But y'all let me know about that exhaust in the comments. Tell me if that's any good. But I'm ready to tear down this thing because a friend of mine that I worked with, he helped rebuild this thing apparently, and he said the guy didn't waste no money on doing you know, the good parts on the inside of it. So we'll see. He thinks that what happened was that in shipment, the seal, or the gasket, I guess you could say, but yeah, it went out, and he thinks it got pinched in shipping, and they didn't really want to wait, so they went on and tried it, put it all back together, and he rode it for a few weeks, and then it started leaking oil from the spot where he thought it was pinched. So maybe that's it, I don't know, but the guy pretty much just stuck it off in a shed and was done with it. And you know, I understand how that is. Once you put so much work into rebuilding something, and then it, you know, a few weeks down the road it tears up, or something don't go right, it's kind of hard to, you're like, man, I really don't want to tear this thing back down. But let's get to looking and see if we can find some things that, you know, we'll just check out a few things on it and see what it looks like. So when I rode it the first time, the key ignition didn't work, so we're gonna have to address that, which that'll probably be, you know, the last thing I do. I can still crank it up by jumping the solenoid, but let's see, the main thing that we're gonna focus on, it's gonna be this top end. So I didn't get, you know, the top where, you know, the valves are and the cam and stuff. So apparently this thing has like a stage 3 or 2, or I can't really remember. I have to look when we break it open, but apparently it's got a big cam and it's bored over to a 440. I don't know, but we'll have to check all that out. I am gonna go back to the regular bore because I've had them with the big bore kits, and they're nice and everything, but not really nice for just cruising around and, you know, enjoying a good ride. And that's pretty much what I bought this thing for. So on to the air box. It's got this super cool, I believe that's a K&N air filter. We'll be replacing that. Don't really care for the aftermarket air filters. I would rather have, you know, if I was going to go aftermarket, it's going to be Uni. You know, they're true and tested. You know, you can't really beat them. And this, I've just seen too many vehicles and ATVs and stuff use these, and this looks like they probably bought it from like AutoZone or something, but it never ends up well. These let a lot of dust go by. Maybe if you put like a pre-filter and kept it oiled, because you can tell this one hasn't been oiled in forever, but I just don't like them. So on this carburetor, I guess it's OEM. It says OEM on it, so maybe that means it's OEM. I don't know. But if he did have the 440 kit on it, we'll have to rejet this one. And I'm sure it needs cleaning, because when I did ride it, it ran rough. I don't know if that was just from it being his first time to crank up in a long time and stuff, but it was just spitting and sputtering a lot, and it didn't sound like it was supposed to sound. So let's get to tearing into this thing. Other than that, really though, I don't really see too many more issues. Definitely all this wiring back here, we're gonna try to clean that up. Maybe, you know, I see a bunch of wires that ain't really going to anywhere, and a bunch of cut off wires. I really don't know what all this stuff goes to, so I'm gonna have to get a diagram and trace all those wires down. And I mean, you see we got like random zip ties holding stuff up, and you know, that's just not the way I'm gonna do it. And got a ratchet strap holding the battery on. It has no battery. Well, I feel something down there. Yeah, it might have a battery tray. It needs that little, I think there's like a piece that comes around and holds them in here better, that bolts up, or maybe a strap, I can't remember. But we're definitely gonna do away with the old ratchet strap. We're gonna put him to rest. He did a good job though. Battery's not going nowhere, but it does look to be that this thing has been smashed, or I don't know what happened, but Guy might have got mad at it and hit it. I don't know. But it don't look good. And then you got your solenoid, and it's just kind of flopping around, hanging. We're gonna get all this stuff back right with some good old help from the internet. But other than that, everything don't really look too bad. You know, it needs a new chain, of course. It's been sitting out at the weather and at my house, and even before it was already rusted. But the chain is still tight. Maybe we could soak that thing in some oil and clean it up. I don't know, but probably gonna get a new one anyway. So I'll get a new sprocket and rear sprocket, and I definitely want to get the guards back on. I can already see it looks like there's a broke off bolt in that one, so we'll have to extract that. Always fun. And then on the bottom, I can't really tell. I might need some more light, but it looks like that was broke off too. So I'll have to extract both of those, because I definitely got to have a case saver. You don't want that chain flying off one day and binding up and busting your motor. That would be horrible. But let's get to pulling some of this stuff apart. I think I kind of want to take the top little part off. I really don't even know what you call that, but we're going to take that off, and we're going to see what the cam looks like and the valves, and maybe get a better look at the spark plug and see what it looks like. And see if those aftermarket parts are really there, or the guy was just kind of telling me a lie. I don't know. I don't think he would, but we'll have to see. Oh yeah, guys, one thing I forgot to mention. So on the reverse switch on this one, so some 400ex's came with this, but this one has a reverse switch, and there was this little cover for it. I believe I set it over here. That's right there. But I thought it clipped in. You know, you just kind of pry on it and pull it off the plastics, but when I went to pry on it, it broke off. So apparently there was 3 screws on the back side that I didn't realize that it's what held it on there, so I kind of broke that. So no biggie, we can get a new one of those. I doubt I'll use reverse on this thing that much, but we'll definitely fix it, so we'll have it, you know, just in case, and just because that option is there. Alright guys, so from what I can see, it looks very good. So and y'all probably can't see it the best. I know it's a little flashy looking. Let me see if I can focus it in. Can't really see good in there, but man, there is no like carbon buildup. Like, it looks like a legit, like, brand new motor on the inside. I don't even know how, but. And then up here where you adjust your valves. Again, it's kind of hard to see on camera. And of course the focus is going to go all out of whack, but man, like, it looks great. Timing chain, I got my screwdriver down in there and kind of played with it. It's got great tension on it. So it's been a while since I've torn into things like this, so I believe it's these 8 bolts that go around, and I'll have to pull the spark plug out and stuff like that, but pretty sure you just take them 8 bolts out, and then this top will pop off. You might have to pry it off, but we'll see. So most of the motor stuff you're going to see me doing is I'm going to be using hand tools. I just don't prefer to use anything else on projects like this, and I can get a better feel for if a bolt has got, you know, how much tension it has, and you know, these things can snap off easy, and if that happens, and you're gonna have a bad day. So we'll coat all these. I already found a bolt that's wobbling around, so that's not good, but we'll go ahead and put some WD-40 on these things, and we'll get to breaking these bolts, and then this should just pull off. You may have to pull this line off, and I'll go ahead and pull this spark plug cover off. Hopefully not get ate by a spider. Yeah, hopefully this bolt isn't a bad thing. I can't pull it out, but it's also not tight, so we'll just have to see. You can use any kind of penetrating oil you want. I'll just always choose WD-40 because you can always find it pretty easily, and apparently WD-40 is not bad for any kind of seals, so some of the penetrating oil that you use can eat up your seals, apparently. I've learned over the years from talking to people that work on four-wheelers, so they always say WD-40 is your best option. So these videos will probably be pretty long and drawn out, but I wanted y'all to experience the full effect of building this thing with me. So we'll go over this thing bolt by bolt together. So yeah, that one was probably torqued down more than it needed to be. So hopefully the rest of them ain't as bad. I'm kind of scared about this bolt, but I know I gotta mess with it. It's just kind of free turning. I'm not really sure what's going on with it. Yep, and that's what it did. So it doesn't seem to be broke. Let me look after I wipe this oil off. So it's definitely not broke. We'll have to check the threads that thread into the motor, and hopefully it's not bad. But if it is, I got a new top end anyway, so it's really not that big of a deal. But and this bolt's trying to strip out on me. So off to a fun start. So this is why when I rebuild stuff like this, like you'll see, I'm going to put every bolt the way it's supposed to be back in there, make sure everything's clean, because this kind of stuff will just ruin your day. So we'll try to go to some of these other ones. I may end up using impact so I can kind of bump these things, because I'm not sure if it's the socket or what, but it's not liking this. Let me go grab another socket and we'll try again. But if it keeps getting worse, we'll move to impact, a small one, and put it on low and kind of bump these bolts and kind of give it some vibration to come out. There we go. So sometimes it helps to, put some force down on top of that thing and kind of try to, I don't know how to explain it, kind of surprise the bolt and give it a little quick bump or whatever you want to call it. And sometimes it'll break on free, so in this case that did happen. So maybe it was something to do with the socket. I don't know. I'm not using no crazy expensive tools. Most of my tools come from Harbor Freight and Walmart. I don't really have any crazy fancy tools because I've never really seen the difference in them. Never had no Harbor Freight tool break on me, so, and it always gets the job done. So I'll continue to use those. Alright, so that one broke pretty good. Let's see if we can get this one. So I don't know if it's just because from this thing sitting up and getting dirty, but all of these bolts on this thing really don't seem to be torqued to a certain tightness. It kind of just feels like somebody went around with a wrench and tightened them down to whatever they thought, which isn't, you can do that, but on this kind of stuff it really helps. And it also helps to put some never sees on these things, because that aluminum on aluminum, it's real easy to seize up and make you have a bad day. I did just notice that there's a bolt there, but not there, so I have to see what that's about. Hopefully it's not broke off in there. But yeah, we'll probably reuse this if it looks all good when we get it off. Like I said, I ran this thing for a good maybe 5 minutes, and it spit and sputtered. But I think it was because of the carburetor, and everything else seemed right. So this part of the motor should be good, but we're definitely going to replace the jug just because you can find these parts for so cheap. And I got the jug from Wiseco, and the piston and all that, and that's a really good name brand. And also torquing these bolts down and stuff on these gaskets, there's a reason there's torque specs on them. So if you tighten it down too tight, or you got it these bolts over here tight and then some over here not as tight, you know, there's going to be different pressure. You want all the same pressure sucking down on that gasket, so you're not, you know, leaking oil. So I mean, that could have well been the reason why he had the issues he had with it. But it is in my hands now, so we're gonna do it all right. So as y'all saw, some of these bolts broke super easy and then some didn't. Yeah, I don't know what the case is with that, but it's not what you want. So if I remember right, some of these bolts are going to be longer and some of them are going to be shorter, I believe, but we'll find out here shortly. I can't remember if I have to take this bolt out or not, but I guess we will find out. Okay, so far 3 different size bolts, but luckily that's what they make diagrams for, and we can go back and see where all these bolts go, because I know by the time I put this thing all back together, I'll never remember where all this stuff goes. I mean, I'm sure I can just thread it in there and figure it out, but it's a lot easier, saves a lot more time if you can find a diagram. So a buddy of mine showed me a pretty cool website. It's called, I believe it's called servicehonda.com, but it's got like a ton of different machine options. You can go to OEM parts and you can look up the diagrams, and you can see pretty much like a blown out picture of every, you know, the motor, the frame, the airbox, the battery, the wheels and tires, suspension, anything you can think of really. It'll show you like every single little part, and there's an option that you can buy them. So I'm sure we'll probably be getting a bunch of stuff off of there, because I do want to keep this motor closer to OEM. I just want to have fun with this thing. Okay, so I heard something crackling and popping, so maybe that was a bolt we need to take out. We should be able to pull this thing off now. Oh yeah. Nice, nice. Everything looks super clean. I did not expect to pull this thing off and it be that clean just from looking at the machine. So we'll set this over to the side. So just off of looking at it so far, everything looks like perfectly clean, like you would want it to be. So the timing chain, like I said, it's got like perfect tension. It's like, it feels like somebody just put it on there. The springs, they all feel super tight, feel the same, nothing feels wrong. So I mean, this is great. This is perfect. This is exactly what you would want to see when you take this top end off, or this top little head off, whatever you want to call it. But I'm going to get my flashlight and kind of get a deeper look down in there and see what I can see. And I mean, I really don't see a reason why I would change this if I think this is all good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it from what I can see. I still haven't seen on the cam where it's aftermarket or anything. So, from what I can tell on the internet, I may be wrong, I'll have to wait until I actually take it more apart, but I think this is OEM cam. I think it's stock, I don't think it's hot cams. As everybody's saying on the internet, that on the middle, and I can't really see on the bottom, but I looked as far as I could and I couldn't find anything, but I didn't see any markings, but they say that there should be a marking if it's like a hot cam, and that's what the guy's friend said, that apparently helped him rebuild it. Said that there was a aftermarket cam, and I think this is stock, so no telling. But everything looks new. You know, I can definitely tell that somebody's been in here before. The little cam chain tensioner or whatever, it's still got the little stock tensioner on it, and I can tell that somebody's took that off before. But y'all let me know what y'all think. And the valves, I really don't know how to tell all this stuff if it's aftermarket or not. I don't know if there's ways to tell, but and I don't have anything to really compare it to, but everything looks really good, and everything's tight, everything feels the way it should, so that's good. And I definitely learned a few things that I need to get for it, so just here and there little things. The carb, it looks horrible on the outside, and there were lines kind of going everywhere, but it don't look bad in there. I mean, it looks fairly new. On this side, it's kind of hard to see down in there. I need to do this stuff in the daytime, but you'll know how it is. Well, it don't look bad. You know, I don't see any, like gum up looking stuff in there. You know, I'll take it apart, but I'm definitely going to get a full rebuild kit, and we can tell, hopefully can tell, because I don't know, but hopefully we can tell what size jets and stuff, and if they're aftermarket or, different looking. I kind of can remember what the jets and stuff look like, because I've rebuilt a ton of carburetors, so we'll have to definitely get a rebuild kit for that. Just here and there little things, but definitely I want to hear this thing fire up before I start messing with any of the cosmetics on this machine. So basically I want to tear this thing down to the frame. I don't plan on getting it powder coated, but I have done this before, and some of y'all might bash me for it, but I'm probably going to spray paint. When I say spray paint, I'm going to use like automotive clear coat, and all that stuff. But if you put enough coats of clear on it and do it right, I mean, it'll hold up. I've done it before. You can't tell me otherwise. It holds up pretty decently. So we'll tear it down. I haven't decided on a color I want to go. I definitely don't want to paint it just back silver or black or anything like that. I want to do some kind of, I'm thinking maybe like a dark blue, or maybe like a illusion purple color, something dark that's not in your face, but kind of just, sticks out and says, hey, this guy has really put some work into this thing. So yeah, and I definitely plan on getting aftermarket A-arms. We'll talk about that real quick. I do want to get some A-arms that are like +2, and I want to come back here to the back and do +2 also. It's just personal preference, really. I'm not really into racing or nothing, so nothing like that. I like the look of it, and I've rode some that were like that before, and they just handle so good. And I'm sure we'll look into aftermarket, shocks and all that stuff, and we could probably save that headlight and make it look new again if we stay with this model plastics. But I'm thinking I want to do the bug eye plastic swap on this one. That would eliminate my reverse, so we could do something custom and make it into it. I don't know yet, but this thing is going to be pretty sick by the time I get done with it. But it will take a a little while for me to do it because I don't have all the time in the world. I also got other machines, C-Force 500, a Razor Pro, and a Honda. I've been washing on them so they don't just chill in my yard randomly like that. See the water hose? And spraying them down, kind of getting them clean. But I don't have all the time in the world to focus all my time on this thing. I got other machines too that I want to work on and do stuff on, but this will definitely be the first episode of this series, and I hope y'all will like this. And please comment, let me know what you think, and definitely comment and let me know what you think about the cam. Tell me if you think it's a OEM or not, because I'm just not really sure. I haven't done a whole lot of research. I'll probably go lay down in bed as soon as I get done with this video and start researching some more, because I don't know, just once you start a project you get like, well, for me, if I start a project I get like way into it and I research like crazy on the internet, and like I'll be able to tell you anything that you want to know about this thing by the time it's done. But yeah guys, like I said, y'all subscribe, follow along with this build. When we get done, we're gonna rip it and have some fun, and who knows what we'll do with it. Hopefully we'll come across some more and have more. Man, 400ex, I don't know what it is, but something about them. I remember the first time I saw one and I'm like, man, that is awesome. They're not, I've rode in the 450Rs, the faster machines and stuff. They're like super fun, but they're just so touchy and jumpy, and they're just, man, they're ready to race. If you're gonna buy one of those, you might as well be into some kind of racing. But I love the 400ex. It's just a great trail machine, and I want to make it beefy and better than it was from stock, and just have a fun machine to ride on. But guys, I'm gonna get on out of here. Like I said already, be sure to comment and like this video, and subscribe, and let me know what you think about this series. So it's gonna be, I'm sure there'll be many episodes and many long nights messing with this thing, so hopefully it'll turn out exactly like I want it. But with y'all's help and me working on it, should be able to get this thing back going again and looking great. It shouldn't take too terribly long to get the motor back going, because it shouldn't be too hard, but all the work of taking everything down, and painting it and all that stuff, and just it's gonna be a lot of work, but it's gonna be fun. But guys, don't forget to subscribe, like it, share it, do what you gotta do, help a brother out. I will see y'all on the next episode. Y'all stay tuned, because it's gonna be great. I'll catch y'all guys on the next video.